Come on. What's up, and welcome in to Under the Hood with me, Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for downloading the podcast, and for those of you listening on ESPN Chicago, you know what time it is. It's NBA season. Oh, the NBA season's here. I cannot wait. So to talk NBA with us is co-host on Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 5. You can hear it on the ESPN Radio app, and on ESPN Radio, it is Evan Cohen with us here to talk hoops right here on Under the Hood. Evan, as always, appreciate the time.
J-Hood, of course, always for you. Thank you for having me.
I love the NBA. Love that the season's here. Happy League Day for those that celebrate. It's here. We finally made
awesome. This is a huge year for us as NBA people because this is a year where ESPN gets inside the NBA, which is huge for us. This is a year where all of the streaming partners with the NBA are going to blow up the sport that we love with Prime and NBC and, of course, ESPN. And this is a year where I think that there's going to be somewhat of an evolution of old to young, maybe. I don't know how many more years LeBron, Steph, KD will dominate as a trio, the headlines, after this year, maybe next. These next 2 years, I feel like LeBron is on a different team by the end of next year. Steph is potentially entering into the last dance year, not this year, but next year. And KD has that extension he signs with the Rockets that he's like the 4th or 5th best player by that time on that team if they're doing things right, that I think we're in a unique phase. I'm not ready to say goodbye to any of them, J-Hood, but I do think we're feeling the difference. Like you can kind of tell things are going in that direction here around the league.
The combination of nostalgia and new is very intriguing because the reason why
it's nostalgia and new simultaneous. It really is this year.
Yeah, it's a combination of both, Evan, because the reason why that we love the idea that the NBA is on NBC again is because it reminds us of the Jordan era. Ultimately, that's it. When you hear that theme, you think about Jordan, you think about Marv Albert, you think about all those great games on NBC, ESPN part of that. You mentioned Amazon being part of that. So I just think that the combination of that, having Inside the NBA on our platform on ESPN is just going to be intriguing to watch. So all of it, I think, is just very interesting.
I think the way you just said that is really, really insightful because I had not thought about that because I was going to say to you, I'm going to unblur here. It's distracting me. The way the music, the John Tesh Round Ball Rock, which you and I both have worked for NBA Radio on Sirius XM in the past, and they use that music a lot of times in and out of breaks or at the end of the hours or whatever they would do. And you're 1,000% right. What they're doing is let's lean into the greatest time in the history of the sport, which is when Michael was dominating and your Bulls were dominating. Like he's the greatest player to ever live. He is the most invincible athlete I have ever witnessed. And I have never witnessed somebody where it felt like he was above us all. Like there was Michael Jordan on one level in the world. And then all of us were kind of just looking up to his airness and his greatness. And that music, when it hits, I think of Saturday afternoons. And I grew up in New York. Growing up in New York and watching Michael, and just Sunday afternoons, watching Michael from the Garden on a 1 o'clock Eastern day or a 12 o'clock game. It's just, that is what that's going to take us back to. And you're 1,000% right. And obviously him part of the coverage. People are talking about, oh, well, he's not going to do this. Not going to do that. I don't care. He's going to be on camera and open his mouth. I'm going to sit there. Whatever you say, Mike. I agree. He could say, your name is Bob and your name is Joe. Yep, you're right. We've been lying. It's not Evan and Jonathan. It's not. We're Bob and Joe. I don't care. It's Michael freaking Jordan. Whatever he says is good by me, J-Hood.
So Mike Tirico, with his legs crossed, sitting watching a monitor of Michael, will say, "So Michael, your thoughts on the Kings? Have they taken a step back this year? Do you feel?" I don't think that we're going to get those questions. A
Mike
breakdown
say,
of
you know, I was
Kings.
surprised they released Terrence Davis. I thought that was interesting. I don't care. He's going, whatever he says, it's still Michael Jordan. And you're right. If the overall concept of think about it. You know, you have nailed something here. What is the NBA right now? The NBA, from a broadcast perspective, ESPN is leading into the greatest NBA show ever, which is Inside the NBA. Maybe the greatest sports television show ever. ESPN is saying, we want that. NBC is saying, let's get the greatest athlete in the history of our lifetime on our platform with the music that both resembles him and him himself, and that's Michael. And then Prime has League Pass, where we can see, like, there's a lot of logic behind it. There really is a lot of logic behind all of this.
I do want to ask you something else about you and I and all the other NBA fans that are listening and watching this.
Okay.
So I feel like maybe I need a couch for this to be able to talk through my feelings about this. I feel like, Evan, that I'm apologizing or backpedaling about the league over the last couple of years under Adam Silver, because the NFL is so great you can't reach it. Everyone else's arms are too short to box with God when it comes to the NFL. I get that, and even college football to some extent. I feel like that I'm always trying to fight those that have a problem with basketball, a problem with the NBA, that the basketball needs a face or basketball wasn't what it used to be. How do you answer that when people talk to you about the league where it's like, oh, you're still watching that? You're still spending time during the week watching the league? Because you and I do on a regular basis, and many do. But I feel like I'm fighting the good fight.
It's a very interesting point. I feel like we are not good as an NBA community. So all of the people watching and listening to Under the Hood, or people who listen and watch ESPN 1000 or Unsportsmanlike, those that would consider themselves, like you and I, huge NBA guys or gals, we probably bring up negatives too often. Like, we probably should dismiss the idea of load management. Because if we actually did the follow-up, well, who's load managing? We always say, oh, LeBron. LeBron doesn't load manage. Kawhi, yes. But nobody cares about Kawhi from like a non-tree planting perspective. So
Right.
I don't we don't do a good job at times of telling our own stories. I mean, let's be honest. Like, there was a play over the weekend where Victor Wembanyama, from about 20 feet away, caught himself, picked up his dribble, had to do post moves at the near corner, almost falling out of bounds by the 3-point line. Did a couple of little pivot foot spin layup from like 20 feet away. It was the most insane. What we need to look at him the way that baseball has now embraced Ohtani, as we have something we've never seen before. Let's hype it. Let's hype it. Let's hype it. We're not doing a good job of that. We're talking about, the fact that, oh, well, no young player has taken over for those three that I mentioned, LeBron, Steph, and KD. Well, why don't we do it this way? The NBA has had this golden era run of these three guys that are still going, that every team would want to have on their team, etc. We haven't done a good job celebrating ourselves, because the most interesting part of the sport is something that I love, and I'm blamed for it as much as anybody in terms of leaning into this, like, conversationally. I mean, I love the transactional stuff, and I think so much of the NBA has become off season and not in season, unfortunately, for the in season part of it.
LeBron James is the face of the NBA still. Tell me that I'm wrong.
No, I can't. I am I'm now gonna go against everything I just said, J-Hood, but here we go.
Mm-hmm.
I am more interested in the LeBron story right now, arguably, than any other story in the NBA, because I have speculated. Let me double emphasize, speculated. The question is this a hold in? I'm not doubting that he's injured at all. And I'm a Michael over LeBron guy every day of the week. But I also have to acknowledge LeBron has played through probably some of the worst injuries we could imagine that we never even knew about. And he's like, all right, I'll be good. Like, I'll figure out a way. And now he's out 3 weeks before reevaluation to start the season. I'm not saying he's not injured. I'm saying if he had another year on his deal with a no trade clause at a number he wanted, Is he out 3 weeks before evaluation? I'm asking the question. I don't know. But doesn't that make you the face of the league? If your injury and your absence is arguably greater than the presence, the attendance of those that are playing, that still makes you the face of the league. If he were to get traded midseason, which obviously he's never been, and he's never actually asked out, he's always left by way of free agency / sign and trade. He was technically traded to the Heat. People don't remember that. If he asks out for the first time, that's the biggest story because it wherever he goes becomes a thing. And now the Lakers, I think rightfully so, building around Luka, and now it puts pressure on Luka. Like, all right, you better win. Like Dallas didn't think you could. It's easy to say you should win with LeBron, the second greatest player ever, but now it's you and all these other guys that theoretically they're going to build around. But everything I just said, every answer I just gave about is LeBron the face of the league is in the orbit of LeBron James. Right? Like, wouldn't the league change? Let's say I put him on the Knicks by way of trade. Let's say I put him on the Cavs by way of trade. Let's say I put him on the Miami Heat by way of trade. Just those are the three teams in the East that I can envision a scenario that he plays for, two of whom obviously he's played for. That changes everything about the way in which we look at the league. He is still the face of the league 20 plus years in. Undoubtedly, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, he is, quite frankly, I don't need him on opening night, but I do need him on Christmas and Dr. King Day. Those are signature dates for the NBA.
I think the NBA, and I love the NBA, I think they make a mistake on Dr. King Day. I think that Dr. King Day should be played at HBCUs.
You got big arenas for that, or I mean, those bleachers. Those bleachers. The bleachers are a little uncomfortable, in some of those spots.
I get it, but think about this: the cultural significance of bringing NBA games to historically black colleges and universities on Martin Luther King Day. Why not do that?
I have no problem with that. Who gets the
one night of the gate being lost?
The owners ask, who gets the revenue? I guess that's split revenue if it's at Norfolk State, right?
Why not just give it back to the HBCUs? That's the. I mean, what would Dr. King have wanted?
King would want a front seat. I think he and his family would like to have front row tickets. That is for sure.
Yeah, that's
King.
True.
He liked the front row.
Okay.
So he's a big front row guy, I believe.
Yeah, I got more serious than you were looking to get on that, but okay. Anyway, go back to the original thing. So yeah.
Wait, hold on. Don't you think? Wait, hold on a second. You don't think Dr. King and Coretta would have liked to have right in front an opportunity to see the Knicks or Memphis? Just be honest, in this situation, don't you think? Atlanta, don't you think that he would have wanted that? I mean, I'm just speaking for Dr. King.
We just came up with a great bit. The hypothetical bit of where those of cultural and amazing significance who have passed away would sit. Where does Abraham Lincoln get a seat? What game is Abraham Lincoln going to, and where is he sitting? No, don't. That is so wrong what you just said.
He's up top.
That is so wrong.
He seemed to like that seat. Well, you asked.
So
you walked into the Lincoln Hall. So there you go. He liked it up top. He was a guy that liked the plush seating up top.
Ronald Reagan, where is he sitting? Give me a couple of minutes on that.
Reagan likes street side. Somewhere there. He likes to be something close. I'm just telling you, those are things that he liked. Okay, I do a lot of research on these things,
This is amazing. What a bit.
You open the door, I walk through it. This is what we do. It's our phone conversation on the air now. Congratulations.
Yes, sure.
No, I'm just saying that I believe that would be great, obviously, because what you're trying to do is just, again, increase eyes to be able to be on that platform. I think that would be awesome. It's not Saturday, Sunday. Those are special games isolated on Monday because they feel like everyone's off and they'll get more eyeballs that way.
What team is LeBron James on Christmas?
The Los Angeles Lakers.
What team is LeBron James on the day after the trade deadline this year?
The Los Angeles Lakers.
What team is he on to start next season if he plays?
Wherever Bronny would like to go. Where would Bronny like to go? Because it would be a package deal. I think it's he and Bronny.
Well, at that point, he'd be a free agent.
Yep.
Now, to get the money he wants, he'd probably have to be a sign and trade, but
it's interesting that you mentioned that because there's odds on that everywhere about where LeBron's going to go. It feels like Cleveland to me one more time to end it out. That's what it feels like. I think it's a great story if it's Cleveland.
I mean, positionally, it makes sense. I think they desperately want to do it without him. I think Cleveland simultaneously, fan base wise, and you and I both have friends that are in the media there that talk about this on a regular basis, that it feels like they simultaneously love and appreciate LeBron and want to celebrate him forever, but they want to do this without him. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. Now, next 2026 is the 10-year anniversary of the title, obviously. So there is part of that. You know, if he got traded there this season or went there after the season and played there in 2026, the idea of winning, you know, imagine that. I hadn't thought about this. The idea of June of 16 and then June of 26, you win a title with the Cavs. You have, if he were to get traded to Cleveland in season and they somehow win it all, you have to walk away after that. I know you're one away from Michael. If you're him, you have to walk away. A title in Cleveland 10 years apart, you got to walk away.
Even this year, Evan, it feels like LeBron would be the missing piece. I feel like Cleveland's a terrific bridesmaid in the regular season, probably over the win total, but I feel like that they'll come up short again in the playoffs. Imagine LeBron in that spot. LeBron would be the elixir to get Cleveland into the finals and over the top. I think they're a terrific regular season team. We've seen that. But I just feel like they have that one missing piece that they will not get at the deadline, and LeBron, I think, would be that guy.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen necessarily, but I think you're 1,000% right. That's the thing. It's more in this case than a feel like LeBron went to Cleveland the second time. Everybody thought, oh, feel-good story. Sure, but it was a logical place he could go to the basketball-wise. Like, what do they need? They got this point guard in Irving. I can get them a power forward by trading Wiggins, and I'm the perfect point forward to be like he's way more strategic on the basketball than people realize. Like, so I think that the Cleveland thing is a basketball fit too, as a matter of fact. And I don't think we probably discussed that part enough, but J-Hood, all we have done in the last 5 minutes is confirm what you and I both think. And anyone who wants to argue otherwise, find me the tree trunk that has as many branches off of it that LeBron James conversation would in the NBA. I mean, you can't. We're talking about Michael. We talk about all these other teams. Steph is amazing. The brilliance of Steph is what Steve Kerr had to say about him, which is he's not high maintenance or low maintenance. He's no maintenance. About Steph and Clay, he said that about. Like, that's their greatness, right? But LeBron is certainly not no maintenance. But LeBron, basketball-wise, does make sense with the Cavs.
Okay, so from the Eastern Conference standpoint, Evan, I with all the injuries that are in the East, my God, I feel like Mike Brown is the right man for the right time for the Knicks. I've never been a guy that says Knicks definitely at the top. I always feel like there's going to be a shoe's going to fall, something will happen. But boy, if there's ever an opportunity, isn't it not the opportunity for the Knicks to take this thing? If the Cavs don't get there, isn't the Knicks, aren't they next?
They have a great opportunity. They should feel that way. I would argue they don't have a best player on a championship team, though, on their roster. I think they need somebody above Jalen Brunson. I think they need somebody above Karl Anthony Towns. I think they need a legit mega star to lead them to a championship, and that's where I think they ultimately fall short. Because I think what we saw late in the season last year in the playoffs, the fact that Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns had to stagger minutes at times because of their defensive abilities or lack thereof, I think it's a huge concern. The Knicks obviously can go big with Mitchell Robinson. OG Anunoby is the kind of player that every single good team would take on their team because you could play him at multiple positions. He's a tremendous defensive player. He's strong as could be and can hit a three-pointer as long as he's healthy. Bridges up and down at times for them, but obviously they like him a lot. Josh Hart is a championship-level role player who's never won a championship, which is a weird thing to say, but there are players like that. I mean, in Chicago, I absolutely adore and love Joakim Noah. I don't care that he never won a title in the pros. He's a championship level player in my mind in terms of his willingness to do whatever it takes for the team. Obviously, two-time champion in college. So the Knicks have all these pieces. I just can't envision a team winning a championship with a 6'1" offensive-minded point guard. That's not a defender. I mean, you're talking about Steph Curry has done that at 6'3", but he possesses a skill that no one has ever been as good as he is at, and that's shooting the three. And then Chicago's own Isaiah Thomas was the last time we saw a point guard as the best player on a championship team. And while Shea is, I guess, technically their point guard in Oklahoma City, he's 6'6". You can't even compare it. Yeah. I mean, can you envision a scenario where the Knicks win it all with a 6'1" offensive-minded point guard?
Not in 2025, no.
As their best player.
Yeah, probably no. He would have to be. It would have to be someone else. Well, actually, you need two guys in the backcourt. I think that can make a difference for that team. As I think about it, but this is why you've got to be able to make a move. I think that you have an opportunity because if it's just Cleveland and Cleveland alone, that's no fun. I keep hearing this in the barbershops about Orlando and Atlanta. It's just like, I like Orlando. I don't love Orlando. I like them. I don't know if I love them that much.
Yeah. I think Atlanta, though, the one thing I would say about them, J-Hood, is I think they are better suited to make a big move than almost anyone in the NBA and leave Oklahoma City and Houston to the side because we know that already. Like, we know that of the non-obvious, who could make a big move and still have guys left? I think Atlanta's on that list. If Giannis ever wanted to go to Atlanta, I actually think they have enough to get him and still be good. They have 2 to 3 wing/bigs that if you were to have a guy in this hypothetical world like Giannis become expendable. They have the former number 1 pick in the draft in Zachary Rissache, who's pretty good, I think. Jalen Johnson, who's from not far from where you are in Milwaukee, at 6'9", 220, 5-year, $150 million deal, maybe $30 million a year, more in today's day and age, more than reasonable. And they have Onyeka Okongwu as a backup center who's on a good contract, who's a good player. Those are 3 guys right there. Plus, they have Milwaukee's pick because of that flop on draft night with the Pelicans. So let's just say I took all those guys off the team. I still have Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, and Porzingis. So now if you give me an elite wing forward or whatever you want to call them these days, I'm just making this up, like a Giannis. If I said Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Giannis, and Porzingis, 4 of your 5 in the starting lineup, you're picking them to win the East.
As long as Trae realizes that it's just not him. The teams, the players that we've known that could be able to not only score but also distribute and make others better, that's when you see growth. And I know you see that from Trae Young. You've got to be able to distribute. Like, you can give me 30 a night. I know you can. But are you going to make others better too along the way? That's my big issue. That's my question.
Well, but if a guy like Giannis is on his team, or if there's anybody else that you would deem like of that level, I mean, I just gave up a lot in that hypothetical deal, obviously. But sure. You're not going to be able to do that if you want to get Giannis, who I don't think is going to be traded this year, in my opinion. But I think the East, I believe in some of the East teams maybe more than you do. I do agree with you conceptually. Like, Knicks have to go all in. You fired Tibbs to get to the finals, right? I think that Orlando's going to be very interesting to see how these guys operate with pressure. We haven't seen that. Let's see how Detroit operates with pressure. Haven't seen that, right? And I think they're obviously very good. I'm very interested to see does Boston let Jason Tatum play? Because I'll tell you, if they're going to say
there's no reason,
I agree. And if they're going to say, hey, Tatum, we know you think you're close, it's not worth it. There's a deal. I keep thinking about Derek White to the Rockets and how perfect he'd be for the Rockets to be their point guard. And how much the Rockets could actually give up without giving up that core, as we mentioned, to get him. Tari Eason, Reed Shepherd. All of a sudden, the Celtics are kind of retooling. There's some things that I'm keeping an eye on. I think, but how about this as a prediction? By the end of the year, you'll feel like the Eastern Conference is a lot deeper than it is today. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Yes. Pushing Indiana down, Boston down, that others will be able to eat and step up because they couldn't do that before.
But don't you think they'll make some moves?
I think that's the key.
Yeah. Teams will have to look at this and say, wait, there's like only one or two teams, and why can't we get in there like Indiana did last year, like Miami did a couple of years ago, where it's like unexpected, and why can't we then call the Western Conference team that falls out of it, that didn't expect to fall out of it, that realizes, okay, like we thought we were going to be good. Obviously, this mix doesn't work. Let's go get that player, right? I mean, give me the team in the West that you think, J-Hood, I don't think they're going to be as good as everybody else. Just let's play this out. I'll explain why I think the East will get deeper.
Okay, so you talking about in the West?
In the West, Portland. Okay, who else?
Okay, so I mean, we can go through like the Pelicans and Suns Kings won't be very good this year.
Kings, yeah. Okay, another good one.
Suns,
Kings. Let's use that. Kings somehow think they're going to be good. Okay.
Yeah.
If I said to you, again, just making this up, and I don't even know if the money works on this. If I said to you, the Orlando Magic, who you're like, they're fine, were to call the Kings and say, we're going to give you Jonathan Isaac, who's an elite defensive player when he plays, young guy, you can figure out what to do with him, and we want DeMar DeRozan as our sixth man on the Magic. Actually, that's one of the great trades on the fly I've ever thought of in my life.
That is a great trade.
A lot of sense. That actually makes a lot of sense when I think about it.
Wow.
But then
I do that.
It.
Yeah.
Because what you don't like is probably DeMar as your main option, having watched it in Chicago. But if DeMar DeRozan is this vet off the bench for this young Magic team, well, now I think, okay, well, now I can push them up a little bit, right? We can play around. This inevitably is going to happen. There's going to be West teams that think they're going to be good that fall out of it. And there's going to be East teams that are like, if we just do one thing, like we may be able to find our way in. By the end of the year, you're going to tell me you think the East is deeper than you do right now. Or you think right now, I should say. We got to go to the trade.
Yes.
If this works. This may be the greatest deal ever.
I love the idea of that. You don't have to rearrange your offense. All right, DeRozan. All right, he's going to give us the back it in, mid-range, shorty, offense. We're fine with that as long as he come off the bench. It's almost like two sets of offense. You're not going to do up and down the floor with DeRozan, but he'll give you the 15-foot and in jump shots and keeps the offense steady.
Right, and if you're a team, and we're just using Sacramento as the example. I'm sorry, Orlando and Sacramento as the example. But if you're, and I got to put more in that deal. But if you're a team that is literally looking at this as the Kings and going nowhere, just get young guys. Get young guys in the team. So there you go. DeMar DeRozan for Jonathan Isaac and Jet Howard. Done and done. That's a great trade.
Send it to the league.
Send
that trade. Would you like to battle? Would you like to battle again for the play-in? Heat and Bulls. Would you like to do it again? Would you like to battle again?
Let's talk about that. Okay. So you want to start with your team or my team?
My team. You got to talk because you've been waiting to break down the Bulls for the last year.
I have.
Let's go.
I really have.
I know.
32.5, I want to say, is the latest ESPN bet over under. I want to talk about the Bulls as if we are switching under the hood, and I am going to interview you. Okay? Can we do this for a couple minutes?
I was waiting for this. This is why I only put on a couple of questions because I can't wait for Columbo to ask me questions. Okay. So go ahead.
Do you feel like this is finally the year they take advantage of trying to be bad because their head coach has nothing to lose? The Knicks got him a contract extension. I mean, the Bulls gave him a contract extension.
Yes.
And I love Billy D. I would want Billy D as my head coach, but odd how that all happened. Billy D has years ahead of him. You have a potential young star player. Potentially. Kobe White has basically let it known, like, no, I'm not going to resign yet. Okay, that's an interesting one. You signed Giddey. Giddey is, I think, a little bit more versatile relative to positions than we give him credit for. Can do a lot of, and $30 million in today's day and age, or whatever he got, doesn't actually have to be a starter, which is wild. How much money goes around? Like, you can deal with him as a sixth man if you had to. Better off as a starter with that dollar figure. But you get my point. Is this finally the year they lean into? It's not going to be the worst thing to be bad.
They will not. The reason why is because ownership is concerned about having the lights on in mid-April, even if it's for a play-in game, even if it's for the first round. That's what their concern is, just to be able to give the breadcrumbs to the Bulls fan to say, hey, we made it into some kind of postseason tournament. And also, Billy Donovan's pride will not allow them to be under, what's the number I saw, 33 and a half. They're going to win.
But let's call it whatever it is. So
it's better. Even with an injured East, they'll be better than that. And they'll be just good enough to get in ninth place again. And that's good enough for the Bulls. So no, they won't do what's right for the organization to go backwards and get a high draft pick. They won't do that. That's not how they operate. Okay. And by the way, thank you for being you're being disingenuous at the beginning of that, saying that you'd want Billy D to be your coach. That's a lie, because there's no way you give up Spoelstra.
No, not okay. You took it very literal in that sense. I'm saying if I had a blank canvas, that is fair. My team that I root for, the Miami Heat, no, I would not take Billy D over Erik Spoelstra. But so then let's go the other way, J-Hood. If they're not going to lean into being bad, tell me the best case scenario. Everything works exactly to plan this year. What are they?
Everything works to the plan. That then they are based on their roster, and I like White and I like Buzelis. I think that he's got a chip on his shoulder because he thought he should have been the number one pick. Vucevic, if he stays, if you're not trading him, that is at best a seventh place team. That's seventh place at best, based on this roster.
So Buzelis is obviously the young star that I was discussing. He has a lot of potential. He plays with some nasty that I like. Like he may be thin, but he's got that nasty in him. Like a little Chet Holmgren-ish, right? Like Chet Holmgren, you see, and Wemby, and you see, and you're like, those guys are toothpicks. Well, they may be built that way. They don't act that way. And you like that about Buzelis, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's what made people rightfully so love Joe Kim. I mean, Joe Kim would he's the only guy in the league that would step right up to LeBron and try to punch him in the face and have no issue with that, right? Although Nazir Muhammad did for the Bulls, now that I think about it. So I just still don't know, J-Hood, like, what are they? I mean, Isaac Okoro for Ball, I didn't understand. Vucevic still on the team, I don't understand. Patrick Williams' contract is an awful contract. I actually understood why they did it. It doesn't mean it's a good contract, but it's an awful deal. They did it basically of like, hey, this guy was so young, we picked him out of Florida State. We need to actually give him more time to develop. Well, best case scenario, he's a sixth or seventh man for you at this point. He's not people thought, oh, could he be Kawhi? He's not Kawhi. He's more likely to actually be planting trees than he is to be Kawhi at this point.
Yes.
I just don't know what they are and why keep going. Like, why not go why not? Okay, let's talk about for a second what they could get. I mean, conceptually, I don't mean exact names, but let's talk conceptually what they can get by removing some of these pieces off of the team. Okay, what do they get by trading Vooch? 2 second rounders, you think?
All right.
No, I'm asking. Do you think 2 second? They're not getting a first for Vooch at this point, right?
Yes, I think you can.
You think you can get a first?
No, it would be second round picks. Yes.
All right, 2 second rounders. Okay.
2 second round picks.
What could you get for Kobe White?
I can get a first round pick late for Kobe White. He gives you 20. He can give me 20 to 25 points a game, depending on what system he's in. Here's the thing: he can get 20 to 25 points on the Bulls.
Right.
On the Bulls.
So
on another team, it's still double digits.
Sure. Yeah. So maybe not a first. Is it maybe a future protected first? Maybe.
It'd be a steal if it's late first, early second.
Denver gives you something, maybe, something like that. Somebody that's like, oh wow, you put that guy on the bench with those, Okay, so let's say we're now up to 3 second rounders, and let's say we're up to kind of, I hate to do it this way, but let's call it a couple of failed or not yet popping first rounders. So who was coming to mind? Devin Carter, backup point guard in Sacramento. Jaime Jaquez, forward with the Heat, guys who are like, maybe they could be. So all the guys at the Bulls should be taking a flyer on right now while getting picks to do so. I'm just thinking aloud on some of these things, right? I already feel better about my team. If those things happen, I feel better about my Kevin Huerter. You know, a good team will give you something, not a first rounder and not a superstar, but Kevin Huerter coming off their bench as a shooter. You're going to end up with the same round. Billy D is good enough to get you 32 wins with these players or with the hypothetical players we're talking about. He still can get you to the 32. Just go there, load up on picks, and restart this damn thing. It's ridiculous to me. It's utterly ridiculous. Your goal should be to rehabilitate Isaac Okoro into a 3-and-D player, and the moment you feel like, oh my God, we got him good, that's when you should trade him immediately.
Honest to God, the Hall of Famer Billy D did not come to Chicago to teach. He loves coaching, for sure. He was hoping that he'd have some playoff-level quality teams. He's just paid well. He's happy now because he's paid well, but the point is, Evan, is that he didn't come here for this.
No,
this
and I've heard him on your show. I've heard him being interviewed by you guys on Kap J-Hood, and he's a wonderful guy. He comes off insanely likable. Yeah. You know he loves basketball. He's not cheating the game. He's been good in the pros with Oklahoma City. Like, he's probably, to your point, gotten actually a little bit more out of this team over the years than you would even expect. It's just, let's be real, his front office has kind of screwed him by not picking a lane. 32 wins is not a lane.
I'll just tell you the thought in Chicago is
that's the shoulder.
I'll just tell you that what the people in Chicago are saying is, like, you know, if you were to be able to dismantle this team, Karnisovas and Eversley are still in the front office, and I'm not sure if that's the right even front office to be able to build toward that. I wish it was Sam Presti. I wish it was someone else, because I feel like the Bulls, especially this season where you can mix, you know, really pay dividends and climb up some with some of the injuries that happen in the East. It's too bad the Bulls can't be in one of those teams that's on the rise. They're not. They're stagnant, and that's where we are. Fighting with you in the play-in. Fighting.
Yeah, I don't understand it for the life of me. I think Sylvie tweeted this, if I'm not mistaken, because I'd be annoyed too if I'm a Bulls fan. I think it was Sylvie that said this. When the Josh Harris, who owns the Commanders, he's the majority governor of the Sixers, owns the New Jersey Devils of the NHL, and owns a soccer team, hires former Warriors and ESPN executive Bob Myers to run everything, right? To be in charge of everything. And Sylvie said, this is what Reinsdorf should have done years ago. And why can't they still do that? Because I have a name, if you'd like a name. And I would put this person in charge of baseball and basketball. Why not go hand everything over to Theo Epstein?
Sure.
Why not? Like, Theo's probably not going to be interested in just running a baseball team, but what if you're running all of the entire operation here? Do they have? I'm sure they have other businesses. What other businesses do Reinsdorf? Do they have any other teams or no? Anywhere?
No, just those two teams in spirits. They dabble in the spirits.
Yeah, maybe it's not big enough for him, but that's where I'd start. Like, I would, if I'm a Bulls fan, I actually want to know that the Reinsdorf have offered everything to Theo Epstein. Like, I'd like to know if they have done that. I feel like, all right, you know what? They see what we see. They need somebody like that running it. Josh Harris does that, and I believe the Sixers are going to get better immediately. The Commanders have already gotten better with his involvement. Like, what direction are they going in? And how many years can Bulls fans be okay with asking the same question? We're not saying bad or good. That's not, or let me speak for myself. I'm not saying bad or good. I'm asking the question, what are you trying to be this year? Don't give me play-in team, keep the lights on in April, which you've given me, J-Hood. That's not a direction. What's the direction of the Bulls? Tell me. Either really good or really bad. What are you trying to be? There is no in between. Really good or really bad. Pick a lane.
Just good enough. And that's, as my mom used to say, that'll do will not work. Just that'll do.
All right.
That's what they are. That'll do organization.
Then let me help you get good enough better. How about that? Here's how you get good enough better. Call the Sixers and say, we'd like Paul George, who people think of as the worst contract in the NBA. And we'd like Paul George, and we're actually going to give you Vooch, who you could use in Philadelphia as a backup big. Oh, by the way, we'll give you Patrick Williams, who's not a good contract, but actually positionally fits what they're trying to do there since they have all these guards. And you're going to give us a first-round pick. So now what I'm getting is maybe Paul George can one day be good. And even if he's not, whatever, I get a first-round pick out of it. Call every team that has a terrible contract, and you want to do the in-between? Do the in-between better by getting guys that could actually be great. And I understand they tried to do this with DeRozan and Levine, but they didn't get paid off to do it. You got to get paid off to do it. So go get every damn bad contract that Billy D could say, good, I'll make these guys actually into a 40-win team because I can get something out of them, and you're going to pay us off to take these damn guys. Be better.
I agree. That no, absolutely. This is exactly, at least it's a direction. There is no direction with the Chicago Bulls. What they say is, please be patient with us. That was the last press conference I heard from Karnashov. It's like, be patient. We are trying to build towards something. It's like, what are you building toward? You fumbled the draft. Well, exactly. You fumbled the draft. They love to talk about what they did in the second half with their one-loss record. But ultimately, you're just spinning your wheels to the tune of number one in attendance again, as if Jordan and Pippen are going to come out for an old-timers game. That's incredible to me. This city is so busy, as you well know. There's so many things to do. You know what I'm going to do, Mildred? We're going to go to the Bulls game. Get your keys. We're going. Why? What? To see Benny the Bull in the popcorn trick? What are you going to see? It's incredible to me. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
I can understand if we were 0-6 in the preseason, but I mean, my God,
sorry? I'm sorry. Yeah, I did. Okay, would you do this right now? Ready? Bulls get Paul George, and a 2028 first by way of the Clippers for Vooch, Zach Collins, and Julian Phillips.
Yeah, right now. Is that in the machine?
Yeah, it works. I wouldn't give you a trade that didn't work. How dare you?
Okay, yes. Then
yes. I think Philly would have to do that because of the fact that they have to get out of Paul George's contract. I think you have to do that.
I got no problem with that.
I mean, it feels like they've never even thought of this. Like, oh, yeah, that would be a good idea. Like, go get whatever contracts are bad and get paid off to do so. Now, you said 0-6 in the preseason. That's a shot at my team, the Miami Heat. Go ahead. Say what you got to say. You've been dying. You've done little prickly things at me. Go ahead, J-Hood.
I'm getting texts from Tommy Tighe about the Heat all the time, so I just thought I'd ask you about what's good.
Tommy actually all the time about. I swear to God, that's who I text with about the Heat. Tommy's the best.
Very strange. It's very strange. It's always in a rhyme though, like Cat in a Hat. So I don't really get it. Yeah. But I just I'd like for you to explain to me what this is here, this Heat outfit, because as much as we admire Oklahoma City and what Sam Presti's been able to put together, I mean, they're the ones with the trophy last year, and again, their future is very, very bright, especially when it comes to their draft picks and what they have on the team right now. I'm just trying to figure out how you define Heat culture for 25-26.
How would I define Heat culture for 25-26? Let's go back for a second. Do you believe in Heat culture? Do you believe that's a thing or that's a slogan? Do you believe that's a slogan or a way of life?
It's a way of life. It's a mission statement, which I strongly believe in.
I believe in it too. I think that people like to hate on them because they put it on the court, but I agree with you. It is they're not for everyone. They're going to play a certain way, and there's only a group of people that fit for them. Now, maybe you could say, hey, it hasn't worked enough recently. You should evolve your thinking. Fine. I think what you're going to see this year is a different version of them than we've ever seen. I think their offense is going to look a lot different than it's looked in years past. And I think this is going to be, in my opinion, the final test. Maybe not final boss, but final test for Bam. For Bam as an offensive player. Not Bam as a culture carrier. Not Bam as a member of the team long-term, as a Are you the second best player on a potential title team? Third best player on a potential title team? Or are you going to be there for 15 years, but you should be the fourth best player on a potential title team? They're going to run offense through him. I am telling you, as a Heat fan, I have to be fair and say, wait and see on what this is for Bam as an offensive player. This year, in many ways, that what they are doing, unlike in years past, they are leaning into a higher floor than they have. What do I mean? All the undrafted guys are pretty much gone. What they have are 6 of their own first-round picks, J-Hood, on their roster. So what they are saying is, we drafted these guys. We drafted them in the first round. Those guys are Bam Adebayo, Khalil Ware, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Tyler Hero, Nikola Jovic, and Kasparis, how do you say his name? Jasikevic?
Yakinchunas? Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Who's day to day? Yes.
Yeah. Aren't we all? So 6 of their first round picks are on their team. And what they're saying is, well, we have those 6 guys. We have Davion Mitchell, who was, I believe, the 7th pick in the draft by Sacramento. We have Andrew Wiggins as the number 1 overall pick in the draft, of course. That is a much higher floor. It's not guys where late in the season, people, not you and I, that are losers watching every second of every game, that are the average everyday fans, are saying, who the hell is this? Max Strus? Where did he come from? Gabe Vincent? Where'd they get this guy? Hassan Whiteside years ago? Tyler? It's not that. It's guys that you knew of that are first-round picks, that they're setting a higher floor. The question is, what's the ceiling? The question becomes, is the ceiling this team, or is this now a method to the madness of, you actually could make, for the first time in a while, a 2 or a 3-for-1 type deal, because another team could look at it and say, well, these are first-round graded guys, not guys the Heat found in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, that made into something that we don't think we can have on our team. Because the Illinois point guard was supposed to be drafted a lot higher than he was, right? Mm-hmm. So that's other people had him. So I think what they are this year is a higher floor team with their own picks for the usage of either it working out for them, or what I think is more likely is maybe possibly for the first time in a while being able to do a 2 or 3-for-1 deal with young players that another team would want, not to be centerpiece, but to be complementary pieces. Now, Ware, 7'1" center, Ware could be a centerpiece type player. He's very good, especially next to Bam. Also, they gave this guy Nikola Jovic a contract extension. He's basically a 6'11" point forward, and they like him a lot. But then I think to myself, how many versions of that are working today in the NBA? I got to be fair. If I'm saying the young or the small offensive-minded point guard doesn't lead you to a title, does the point forward at 6'11"? I don't mean Giannis. Like, where's the other versions of that? Because Giannis is a great defensive player. Jovic is not that. So I think high floor. I don't know how high the ceiling is setting up for a trade.
That would be wise, in today's East. While Indiana's got issues, while Boston's got issues, if you're in a certain spot, go for it. Get in a better position than
I think Milwaukee's the most underrated, J-Hood. I think they're going to be actually pretty good.
I do too. I won't get caught into the Michigas of is Giannis going to be around? Will he not be around? He's going to play,
around.
And he's going to be
around.
Yes, he's going to be around, and he might be the lead guard in a lot of the offense, but that's okay.
Yeah, and by the way, you know what nobody's discussed, which I think is an important thing to discuss? Let's just say, for argument's sake, the Miles Turner thing doesn't work out for them. Isn't everyone signing up for Miles Turner on that contract? Isn't that an insanely tradable contract at like $25 to $30 million a year for 4 or 5 years? I mean, look at what that guy did in the playoffs. Like, he was great I thought, for Indiana. So they actually have a tiny bit more flexibility than people realize. And Portis off the bench, they don't want to trade him because he's like, I mean, it's weird for you as a Bulls guy to think about this, but he's like the ultimate high character, community, everyone loves him guy. I know we got into a fight in Chicago and it didn't work out there, but that's like their heart and soul guy. They don't want to trade him, but they have pieces They really do. I think they're the underrated one in the East. I really do.
So after all this, the Rockets win the championship, right?
They look good. Did you see what they put out as their starting lineup?
That's right.
Amen Thompson.
The tallest lineup I think we've ever seen.
Right. Yeah. So it's Thompson, Kevin Durant, I think is their starting shooting guard at 7 feet, Jabari Smith Jr., Upper Şengün, and Steven Adams. They kind of have 4 6'11", 7-foot guys starting for them. It's insane. It's insane.
And athletic. And athletic. Don't forget about the athletic part.
Is it? All right, here's a glass half empty one for you. Is that lineup, while unique and different and athletic and big, is that lineup an indictment on Reed Sheppard, who was the 3rd pick in the draft a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was, and they have the injury to Fred VanVleet, and he can't find his way in the starting lineup? Is that an indictment on him?
I think it is, but if you feel like you can upgrade there, but if you upgrade, I think you're good, though, Evan, right? If you feel like size will be better than Reed Sheppard, hats off. If you feel like you can win more games that way, do it. Got no problem with that.
Understood. And maybe you have him off the bench as that 6-man just, launch away. I think I saw it in your eyes when I brought up the hypothetical of a Derek White trade to Houston. I think you started fitting them for their rings officially at that point. That can't happen yet because some contracts need to kick in for that to happen post December 15th. But once VanVleet got hurt, and you're hearing about this lineup, and Tari Easton is on the last year of a rookie scale deal. Shepherd's not. We'll start getting motion a little bit. Maybe you could see that, and you know that Ime has a relationship with Derek White, obviously from the Boston time, right? And maybe they may have even been in San Antonio at the same time. I'm not positive about that one, but
this is going to be fun this year. It's a lot of moving parts. It's just not a fait accompli that Oklahoma City wins the championship. I'm interested in the top half of the East. I'm interested in, after Oklahoma City, who can vie for the championship. This is going to be a great season.
Is there a take that you have about this year? I'm putting you on the spot very much so here. Is there a take that you have about this year that you would say is kind of an out of left field, an unpopular or a weird one, and you would say, oh, you know what? This one's pretty interesting. I'm not asking because I have one in my back pocket. I'm just asking you. If you don't have one, I'll ask you for one on the team. But go ahead.
No, I have several. I'm just trying to figure out which one do I I'm not as high on the Mavericks this year as some might with Cooper Flagg. A little bit of a sideways or back step for the Dallas Mavericks this year. Not a team I'm looking at as a real contender in the West this year. To the point where I think they can win the West.
Where my mind goes on that is, where does Clay end up by the end of the season?
With his girlfriend, wherever she goes.
Can't blame him
with
on that.
Megan.
What are you drinking? Is that water? It looks like you're taking shots, but I know it's not that.
No, it's core water.
Yes. No, I know you're drinking. You pour it in the little. Is that what that is? Is the top of it also a cup?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I never knew that. See? That's very cool. Look at you.
It's very good.
Yeah. All right. I'll leave you with this. No Diet Coke label off. Okay. What do you think the Warriors will be this year?
The Warriors will be bounced out in the first round, but as a fun regular season watch, because it's stuff, a healthy stuff.
Where does Kuminga end up? Your squad?
No, God, I wish. How about the Heat?
For who? Wiggins?
I think Wiggins is a nice player. I don't know if he is Heat culture material. I'm not sure what material he is, quite frankly.
They said he's had an amazing offseason being there for the whole time. So we'll see because they're going to need to rely on him. I think he was at his best as we saw when it was like, oh, yeah, Wiggins is on this team. He's been great. It's like, oh, by the way, he's also here. Like, that's when he's at his best, not when, all right, Wiggins, you and Norman Powell got to lead this team.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think the Warriors are going to be very interesting for a couple reasons. It's this year and next year for this group. Kerr is not signed until next year. I assume he'll take a 1-year deal after this year and then exit with all of them. I think you have to keep an eye on LeBron with them. And I think you have to keep an eye on Giannis with them. And I think that people are eliminating one thought here. Everybody assumes all these trades are going to happen because of the potential of Kuminga. Are we sure it's not going to be Jimmy that the one? Because Jimmy, numbers-wise, matches up with these other guys. And if I'm them, sell high on him. You learned it. I learned it. We all learned it with Jimmy. Don't trade him when he's on the way down. Trade him when he thinks it's the greatest moment of his entire career. That's when you call the Lakers and say, all right, we're going to give you an out on this LeBron thing. We're going to give you a guy who's locked up next year who will actually fit nicely next to Luka, who you have for a year and a half, and you don't have too long where it's like, oh, well, you haven't passed the prime, and you have a mask for trading LeBron because we're going to give you another all-star. The Bucks don't want Jimmy, but is there another team that potentially would want him in a 3-way deal if they ever were to trade you? That's something I'm keeping an eye on. The Warriors are not dumb. Sell high on Butler. Just because you give him the extension doesn't mean you ever have to pay him that extension. It just means someone in the league does. Doesn't mean you do. It means someone does.
I would agree that you want a Jimmy that's in good spirits. A Jimmy that's disgruntled is a Jimmy that will quit on you. Seen that story in multiple spots.
Yes, we have.
I think you got to be smart about this. If you still want to be viable and you're the Warriors, then you got to be able to make that for that last run, the last couple of years. Just say you want to be able to be viable. Don't age out and just bottom out because as is, I feel like they're on the down slope. Good regular season team, but then they're going to get a matchup problem against a good team, middle of the West, something like that, and then they'll be gone. So if you want to have one more shot at this thing, do what's right for the organization. For Steph. Do what's right for Steph and Draymond.
And what's that? Kerr. And what's that? Is that Jimmy? It is Jimmy, you think? Keep him.
Yeah, no. It's trading Jimmy and finding someone hungry in that spot. That's what I mean. Then do what's best for the organization. Yeah.
If you're hovering around 500, let's say around the trade deadline, just for argument's sake.
Yeah.
If you don't have a great playoff run, correct me if I'm wrong, you're then entering next year, Steph's final year, Draymond's final year, Jimmy's final year under contract. That never goes well. You can't enter next year with that. I think I could see the Warriors saying, let's see what it is. If it's not perfect, it's actually the perfect time to get out of it and use that piece to get. I mean, you would have Jimmy and Kuminga to get something big, and it doesn't mean they have to go in the same place. I think you and I, let's just keep an eye on this conversation about Jimmy Butler's future. Everything's great there. The Warriors are the best. Okay, wait and see. I think they are the best because I think they would trade you.
58 minutes, and finally we get the email chime. That's what I was looking for. I was waiting.
That was a huge message. You wanted it the whole time. I told you, I'm trying to eliminate that. Oh God, we could have gone on. We didn't do any of the G League. You want to do G League?
No, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Evan, as always, we appreciate it. Please come back on the show. Please come back so we can measure where the Bulls and Heat are.
It's not going to be pretty.
There he is, folks. There he is. He's Evan Cohen. There he is. Look at that picture. There he is. My guy, Evan Cohen. Right there on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for listening and watching.